interested with U.S. immigration? Can Donald Trump give you a green? Hey guys, before you file for your spouse, hey guys, come on in. Come on in. Say freedom now, freedom now. Today we're going to talk about the House Republican immigration bill that made its way out of committee last night. Okay, today is May 1st. And if you're joining me live, type in freedom now. And if you're not joining me live, still type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe in freedom, immigration freedom. Come on in and type in freedom now. We have a lot of ground to cover, okay? If you're joining today on Facebook, share this live session with your feed. Our phone number is 914-898-9488, or you can contact us by email at info@mcbeanlaw.com. For those of you who are on TikTok, you might have been quite alarmed last night by videos from members of Congress saying various things about the fact that Republicans have voted to allow ICE to deport U.S. citizens and all of that. In this one, I'm going to touch on that topic as well. But now we're going to go right into the key part of this legislation that the House Republicans are trying to advance through reconciliation, which is a very fast track process on Capitol Hill. And the bill that we're going to talk about is the immigration portion of it. It's a pretty massive package of bills that are being considered by various committees on Capitol Hill. This bill today that I'm discussing in this video is coming out of the House Judiciary Committee, which has jurisdiction over immigration. Okay, now this bill, friends, the summary. This is a funding package. Okay, this package funds President Trump's deportation efforts, okay, mass deportation efforts. And this is his big, beautiful bill that he wants advanced. And it very well seems quite likely that it will be advanced and the Senate will take this up as well. Now, this bill passed out of the House Judiciary Committee by a vote of 23-17 along party lines. It will cost the taxpayers $81 billion, but it also raises $77 billion in fees to offset these costs. And we're going to get into who they're going to fine, where these fees are going to be coming from. And spoiler alert, they're going to be coming from immigrants, obviously. Now, this funding package increases ICE's detention budget significantly. The detention budget goes from $3.4 billion to $45 billion to provide for 100,000 beds. Okay, 100,000 beds. It also provides for $8 billion to hire more law enforcement agents to carry out immigration enforcement. $14 billion is also earmarked for deportation efforts. $600 million to investigate and prosecute immigration matters. $75 million for expedited removals, and $25 million to remove immigrants without future hearings. Yes, you heard that correctly. Now, let's go into the specifics here. Asylum. You might have heard also in the news that this bill proposes to increase the filing fee for asylum applications to $1,000. It does that. 50% of the fees would go to EOIR, the Executive Office for Immigration Review. That's the immigration court system. And then 50% would go to USCIS. Now, this bill also touches employment authorization documents, which is the work permit. And it would, guys, it's actually a really bad proposal on the work permit side because it would require folks to renew their work permit every 6 months and pay a fee every 6 months of, no less than $50. So work permits would only be valid for 6 months, which is really awful, and that's going to slow things down in the system with all of these applications coming in every 6 months, and then also destabilizes individuals as well because employers are not going to like that, right? Now let's keep going. For those who entered the United States via a parole process, like a humanitarian parole process, they would also face fees related to their application and work permit, which would only be valid for 6 months. And they too would have to renew their work permit every 6 months. SIJ, Special Immigrant Juvenile Process. You typically ask me about that process every week to see whether Congress has touched it. Well, they have touched it in this one on the fee side. Currently, there is no fee, filing fee for SIJ. Under this proposal, there would be a fee of no less than $500. Okay. TPS, temporary protected status. They're also going to be collecting fees as well related to TPS. Then this one, friends, children who enter the United States unaccompanied typically are placed in under the care of HHS, the Health and Human Services Department. And then they are eventually turned over to a sponsor. The sponsor is typically a family member. Under this bill, the sponsors would have to pay $3,500 in order to collect, so to speak, the child. Okay, $3,500. And there is money in this that would require these sponsors, that would provide for investigation and information gathering of these sponsors. The government will want to know who they are. And the way that I see it, they'd want to know who they are, specifically, maybe potentially to try to bring allegations against some people for maybe alien smuggling and to find out what their level of support was in bringing this child to the United States in the first place. So that's another story. But $3,500 to release the child into the care of the sponsor. And then let's go down a little bit here. There's some visa fees. And then let's see, immigration court. Let's see, let's go down to the more interesting ones. Okay. Um, the diversity immigrant visa fees, that's no less than $400 as well. A lot of fees, EOIR fees, for imposes a fee for applications to adjust their status. This is a fee that would be collected to offset the costs related to, I guess, the immigration courts having to review or process these applications. Anyway, there's a fee for that, no less than $1,500. And then smaller things there about ESTA fees and some others. Now, let's go down here. There's also a fee for sponsors of unaccompanied children who fail to appear in immigration court, $5,000. Okay. Then there's a fee for individuals who have been ordered removed in their absence. They did not show up to court. Maybe they didn't get the hearing notice, or maybe they just were scared and decided they're not showing up, or maybe they didn't even get any notice at all. Those individuals, okay, would be fined as well, $5,000. The fee is to be collected at the time of arrest. And then there are some customs and border apprehension fees, no, $5,000 to be collected by customs at the time of apprehension. Guys, you might be saying, this is crazy. If they apprehend someone at the border, that individual most likely will not, I don't know, some people do, I don't know, might not have $5,000 on them. How are they going to enforce all of this? The enforcement aspect of all of this is still very unclear, okay? Very, very unclear. Now, how will they use all of this? How will they use these fees and that they're going to be collecting from individuals? Well, the immigration court system, which has a significant backlog, almost 5 million people, close to 5 million people, are in immigration court. The immigration court system will receive an additional $1 billion to hire staff and expand their courtroom capacity. At the same, it's strange because also at the same time, as you guys know, they've been firing immigration judges. And then they put in $1 billion here to expand and hire staff. It takes a year, by the way, to hire an immigration judge. Okay. Just an FYI to individuals who might not know that. Then there is a whole lot of money here for ICE. Okay, a lot of money here for ICE. Um, adult alien detention centers, family centers would receive 45 billion to house more people. Um, $858 million to retain and sign on more ICE personnel. These are sign-in bonuses to bring people on to the department, ICE. Then there's $8 billion for hiring additional ICE personnel. And then there's 600 million for recruitment and onboarding of ICE personnel. I see, to me that there's some redundancy here. Um, and then there's additional billions of dollars to transport for transportation and removal operations going to ICE. Um, and then there's a lot of money here for IT, information technology investments to support ICE enforcement operations to help them with their investigations. Then there is 550 million to upgrade ICE facilities. Then let's see. Then they have 650 million in here, friends, for the sanctuary to help ICE carry out the sanctuary going after, I should say, um, the creating these agreements, the agreements between the DHS and the county governments across the U.S. To coordinate their efforts through agreement. They're looking to add $650 million to help support ICE with carrying out these agreements with local governments. Then they are put in 950 million here to also compensate the states for incarcerating criminal aliens. Then here's where it gets even more interesting. They are putting in $1.3 billion to hire more attorneys for removal proceedings. I will tell you this, hiring an attorney who is qualified, who understands the law, the INA, and qualified with litigation is not a very easy thing to find, okay? But there's $1 billion in here to hire more attorneys to work on removal cases. Um, then they have 500 million in here to support expedited removal of individuals at the border to return them to Mexico under the migrant protocol plan, the MPP, if you guys remember that policy. So there's money there for that. Then there's money close to 800 million to combat criminal gangs, 3 billion to house children, unaccompanied children. Let's go down a little bit here because there's more. The Secret Service will be getting $1 billion to play a part in some immigration enforcement activities. Then there's money in here also for related to drug trafficking. Okay, they also included 600 million, okay, 600 million for investigating and prosecuting immigration related matters. Again, to do that, you need the staff, you need the people, you need the skill set to be able to investigate. It's unclear. Obviously, they're tapping all these different federal agencies to carry out a lot of some of the enforcement activities currently. They're tapping into all these other resources, other budgets, and now they're putting money here that I guess would be spread out, so to speak, to other agencies to help them with the investigation of immigration related matters. 75 million for expedited removal, fast track deportations, as I've discussed earlier, and then 25 million to remove individuals without a future hearing, without further hearing. Okay, that's it for the budget. Now, this is going over to the Senate once the other committees on Capitol Hill, friends, do their part. Because, again, like I said earlier, this is a package, a big package, not just immigration. Issues are fees and fines, and all of those are in this. It's an entire package involving a lot of different parts of our government that will go over to the Senate for a fast track reconciliation process. And it looks like they're feeling good about this and confident that this can be done without yeah, that it could be done. Okay. So what we're seeing is the gearing up, the funding is that's necessary, but then they will still encounter some real world hurdles of recruiting and carrying out the enforcement activities without the people needed to do this. So just keep watch over what's going on and just know that this is big and that most likely will pass the House in the end. All right. Now, with respect to amendments that were offered yesterday by the committee, one of those amendments was by a Democrat who wanted to include something that said along these lines that ICE cannot use any of all this money to arrest and deport US citizens. And that was shot down. That was shot down. And so people are really scared and concerned by that because it seems like it's an endorsement to allow ICE to deport US citizens. Keep in mind that this is all about the budget. This is money. These are dollars to carry out enforcement activities. There's a lot of other things in place to protect us, still, US citizens, from these types of efforts with respect to deportation. ICE does have a policy, and I have the policy here that let's see if I could pull it up here for you guys. Hold on a second. Let me get this on the screen. Okay, so this is the policy. It's old, of course. It's from 2015. It's an old ICE policy that says that's titled "Investigating the Potential U.S. Citizenship of Individuals Encountered by ICE," and it says here. Hold on a second. Scroll out. Zoom out. It says here in the very beginning, as a matter of law, ICE cannot assert its civil immigration enforcement authority to arrest and or detain a U.S. citizen. Okay. And then the policy goes on to talk more about what they should do if they encounter a scenario in which it's unclear whether the person is a U.S. citizen or not. But once figure things out, they're supposed to release that individual right away. And there are times when, they do encounter, and you guys know this is real world, real world that we're living in. They encounter individuals who say that they're a U.S. citizen falsely. That happens at the border. And I know that because we work on cases like that of individuals who got in trouble for saying that they're a US citizen at the border, and then even not, and later on in life, they say they are a US citizen. So this policy explains what they should do, what ICE should do in these types of circumstances. So yes, Policies are there, but in practice, what's really going on today? Today, we're hearing more stories about some US citizens who speak Spanish, who are being detained by ICE. The stories are out there. They're very real. It is happening. We're hearing stories about ICE raiding people's homes who are US citizens. Okay. It's not a very frequent thing, right? I know that I've heard maybe one or two stories about that. And I expect that things will continue along those lines with respect to them breaching the line here. Okay. So that will happen. Um, and with more money, more dollars for enforcement, more it will be more of more, right? Okay. So with that being said, let's see what immigration questions you have briefly before we wrap this up. All right. Fernando says, and let's get this back on the screen here. Fernando says there is no policy anymore. They do what they want to do. Um, Okay. Yeah, they're doing quite a bit. Um, they're crossing the line in a major, major way. Okay, let's see. Let's go back up a little bit here. Anything on DACA? Not at this time. I don't have anything new on DACA. Um, how is I-601A easy, or is it hard now that they can be deported? So the I-601A process, it's still in place. It still works. We still work on those waivers to allow individuals to leave the United States. I have not seen a policy proposal quite yet that touches the I-601A discretionary process. Um, Okay, I have not seen that. But everything is getting harder with immigration. Okay, and now with the dollars that that ICE will and the immigration court system will need, although on the court side of things, I'm very skeptical about their recruitment and their ability to find the right people to do the job. We just have to realize that they are trying to push forward in a very aggressive way the immigration agenda of the Trump administration. I lost my train of thought. Obviously, obviously. I had something else to say, guys. I wanted to say something else. But anyway, it happens. I think I've said enough anyway. So we're going to wrap up very soon. If you're now joining, what you'll need to do is watch the replay of this live session in which I went through the billions of dollars that are on the table to bring ICE's enforcement activity to a very high level, and the efforts that this administration is going to take via reconciliation, a fast track process to push all of this through. Watch the beginning of today's live session. I don't have anything new on the I-130 front other than, Nicole, things are slowing down with the I-130 process. Um, and if you're in a family preference or an employment category, check the visa bulletin to see where I'm sorry, not employment, but family category, check the visa bulletin to see where things stand. Is it still safe for green card holders to travel outside of the United States? I have a lot of videos on that, okay? It just depends on your background. Most people are safe and they can travel, of course, but if you have a criminal record, you should not travel as a green card holder. And I have a video out there this week about a true story involving a woman, 54 years old. She's been in the United States since she was a child, but she has drug convictions, old drug convictions. She traveled to Ireland recently to visit her sick father, and she was detained at the airport coming back. And she is still detained today, to my knowledge, okay, because she has drug felonies as well as misdemeanors on her record due to her many years ago, she had a drug addiction. Okay. Parole in place. Is it still safe to apply? We're still doing military parole in place. It's something that you have to do fast. I've heard that it might be going away. Okay. I have not heard about VAWA. I didn't see any fees related to that on in my summary here, but I didn't cover everything. Okay. Withholding of removal update. I do not have a specific update about withholding of removal. You guys know that Abrego Garcia also was granted withholding of removal, and he's in El Salvador in prison right now due to a mistake by the government. He was deported by mistake, and they are fighting privately to bring him back. And his story, as you know, is a story about two men. This is about two men. It has nothing to no one cares specifically about Abrego Garcia directly, specifically. They care about due process. If folks are really honest, it's due process and the rule of law that got many of us really, 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 really concerned. And so this is about Trump versus Abrego Garcia, these two men. And there's no way that Trump is going to roll over and allow someone who he believed to have entered the United States illegally, which he did, to win this one. So it's a battle between those two. And he had the withholding of removal. And so we're still very concerned and care lot about the rule of law and how things are being played out in that case. So continue to watch that issue. But I have not heard about other people who have withholding of removal being deported at this time, because then that would also be illegal. Um, okay, thank you. I'm curious about what will happen to the deportees in El Salvador. Same here, because the rule of law, that's what the main thing that we're really looking at here, and their due process rights. Um, I don't, the contract with El Salvador, to my knowledge, for $6 million is good for 1 year. Um, and this government has a responsibility to figure things out after that. Okay. Um, and and then there's the other issue about Venezuela, because my understanding is El Salvador is offering to Venezuela to have these Venezuelan men repatriated. So we'll see what happens, whether they're going to be moved to Venezuela eventually or not. All right. When will all of these new fees, back to today's topic, when will these new fees be applied? To me, let's see, I think it's right away after, obviously, it passes through. I don't have the exact, like 60 days in effect or this or that. I don't have that specifics here right now, but the process will involve the Senate, the negotiations with the Senate, and then a final vote through reconciliation. So I think this is going to be a very swift process. Like I said, the work permit part of things, and I don't know if someone on my team can maybe even help me with. I think I might have deleted that part of my presentation earlier when I was preparing the effective dates, the effective. I'm in Teams, so you could just put that information in Teams for me, please. Um, and then when I get that information, I'll share it with you. Okay, let's get back to this. Um, let's see. Can I use my permanent resident card as a real ID to travel? Yes. And if anyone has any questions about the real ID, which is going into effect any day now, in a few days, not too long from now, just go to TSA's website, and the website tells you the list of documents that are acceptable. Of course, a green card is acceptable for travel. Thank you, Chi. I see that. Let's see. The biggest issue, I think, one of the big issue, aside from the immigration enforcement activities that will be really beefed up and enhanced, is the whole work permit thing, the disruption that it will lead to many people with respect to having to renew a work permit every 6 months. That's going to be really awful. And anything new on asylum process and work authorization? Kingsley, I covered what was passed out of the House Judiciary Committee yesterday regarding asylum, $1,000 for the asylum application, and then the work permit process is every 6 months. Will be the work permit process if this passes through the reconciliation process. Joint motion to reopen still going on in some limited cases? Yes, they are, but they are really cracking down on those. That's definitely the case. But in some limited, they still maintain their discretion, ICE, but they are slowly doing away with it in some jurisdictions. So in those types of cases, you'll have to take your motion directly to the BIA, the board directly, and it's just going to be a lengthy wait because they're short of staff right now, but there's money in this budget to really enhance um, uh, uh, EOIR and other related departments and agencies. Um, Let's see. Let's go down here a little bit. I'm just looking specifically for questions related to the breaking news that the House Judiciary Committee passed out of their committee by party line vote, um, a massive spending bill, 80 something billion, and 77 billion it'll be paid for, so to speak, in 77 through 77 billion in fees that they will be collecting from immigrants. Okay, I don't see anything in my teams here yet. I'm gonna have to jump off because I have a very busy day ahead of me. Um, let's see. Did you say that these are likely to be I think they are likely to this is likely to work out for the Republicans. Why? We've seen what happened with the last Medicaid and other things, the last spending um budget bill. We saw how that played out. I also see that on Capitol Hill, unfortunately, they are very weak. They have ceded their authority with respect to taxation to the White House, and so they've ceded their authority. I think in many different ways. Things are very weak. I'm really pessimistic now about what's going on Capitol Hill. They are just not the branch of government that we can rely on at this time. The only branch of government that I think we can still look to and rely on is the judiciary. And we're seeing that play out in many ways across the country with a lot of injunctions. Even the Supreme Court is standing up. So on Capitol Hill, I think that we should be watching for are very dangerous immigration bills like the Laken Riley Act, and now this just basically handing to Trump what he wanted, the big, beautiful bill. So I do see it playing out in that regard. I'm very pessimistic about Capitol Hill. And I'm usually very optimistic about things, but not with respect to these people who are elected to represent us. I don't have any faith in them. Um, are immigrants still being deported? Yes, that didn't stop under Trump 1.0, Biden, believe it or not, deported quite a bit of people. Trump 2.0, people are still being deported. Deportations has always been around. It's been going around forever. It's just that now there is a different. I told a group of people last week, I was speaking someplace, and I said to them, immigration is everything to this administration. It's everything, everything. So when it's everything, um, they put money towards it, and that's what this is. They're putting money towards this. I don't know what's going on my Teams. I don't see the information quite yet. I'm going to jump off, guys. Thank you so much for being with me. Watch the replay of this live session. I'll be doing a social media live maybe later today from the office. Guys, thanks so much for being with me. And again, we are reachable at 914-898-9488 or at info@mcbeanlaw.com. Thanks so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.